We're going to go ahead and get started then in our session. We have about a half hour here. And what we have is we have 4 individuals that are going to be sharing, as Lexi kind of announced, that what the goal is for each one of them to first go through and talk about different aspects of their premium auction in terms of responsibilities, the structure of it, recruiting buyers, and appreciation gifts. Those are kind of some of the areas that each of the individuals will address. So what our goal is to have each one of them give about 5 minutes ish. And then that'll take us to give us about 10 minutes of open discussion at the end. So what I would like to do, though, is for each one to go ahead and go through. Otherwise, based on past, we can really get into some good conversations, and then somebody really gets pinched in the end trying to get their information. So out of respect to that, we'll just go through each person and then hold your questions or type them in the chat if you want. And I can ask those once we get through all 4. So really, to get started, I'll just go down our list first. So first, Janet Harkness, Extension Agent in West Plains District. Janet, appreciate you being here tonight, and we'll just turn things over to you. And if we start running a little long, I may jump in and have to just give a reminder on time, just so we stay on time. Because if it's like me, I like to talk, so I generally go long. So I'll help hold us all accountable.
Sounds good. Thank you, Joel. So the Scott County Youth Livestock Auction, last year we were blessed. We had a record year auction, over $500,000 in sales. We sold all species of livestock, and in between each species, we sell our champion foods in the junior, intermediate, and senior levels as well. We do rotate our species, so there is a rotation plan. You know, if beef starts the sale, it'll move down the sale order, and the last species will move back to the front. So we do rotate those every year. We do have a committee that is a standalone committee with representation from our superintendents, along with a representative from our fair board and a community business owner representative. We attempted to recruit a youth rep, which is a 1-year position on the committee, but I did not have any takers this year. I am also on the committee. I don't have voting privileges, but I sit on there in an advisory role as well. We do have a check-in procedure where we collect phone numbers, email addresses, buyers. We like to be in touch with them as well. We like to keep our buyers list updated that the kids go through each year to solicit buyers as well. I guess, Joel, is there anything in particular that you're looking for us to talk about? Okay. Our William Carpenter 4-H Foundation had been running the finances of this auction through a special livestock account. They have asked us to move that, which we have. We now have the account through the Scott Community Foundation. So that will be separate from 4-H, even though the Carpenter Foundation wasn't part of our 4-H program, so we could still have the auction finances through them. But we do have that moved over to our community foundation as well. We do not have an insurance program, so if we lose an animal during the county fair, or if we have an animal go on to the wrong destination, we are building up a fund to cover those animals in case of replacement. I mean, other than answering specific questions, Anne, if you want to jump in and talk a little bit.
Yeah, I can. I think Scott County, we have it's probably not unique to the whole state of Kansas, but it is a unique setup that we have in Scott County. I'd say I don't know how long this setup has been going on, but I've been involved about 35 years. And I know way prior to me, this is how we've done it with a committee that is the livestock superintendents, representatives from Fair Board, somebody from the extension office, and we kind of expanded that a little bit this year. The committee itself does, I guess I'd say, all the pre-leg work and the night of the sale. We do contacting floor buyers, different things like that. And then of course, making the sale order also.
Mhm.
Different, everything like that. So our kids can sell 2 head of livestock through the sale, but they have to be 2 different species. So if they show 3 species, if they show pigs, sheep, and cattle, then they have to pick 2 of those to go through. We used to allow 3, but then we added the goats, we went back to 2. So we sell completely by the pound. Our buyers get the floor price back unless we do let the kids buy their animals back. Some of them buy them back for butcher and stuff like that. And of course, this year with the new rules that they can go on to State Fair and Junior Livestock Show, we'd probably see a few more of them buying them back. Like that. Of course, some of them bought some of the market gilts back for different reasons like that. We do very few add-ons. There is some add-ons. We don't go out and solicit any kind of add-ons or anything like that. But every now and then there is a business that might want to just add to a bunch of the kids or a select group of them, or if somebody feels like somebody might have not got the right price, or not to say the right price, if some of the things are, a couple of them end up lower, a business will step in and kind of move those up. So that's kind of like some add-ons. One thing that also is very unique in our county is I think it's unique. There's probably other ones that do it too. I don't know of any other ones. When the kids will stop by the extension office and they get a sale ticket or whatever we want to call it, with that total price and everything and their buyer's name in it. And they have to go to the buyer, that business, and get their check. And then they usually bring them like a baked goods or gifts or pictures or whatever they want. Their kids get very creative as far as for things that they've given them. And of course, over the years, it's gotten a little bit grander. We've done different things over the years. We used to add a little bit money. The kids used to pay some extra money and we'd get a buyer's gift, that like a coffee mug or something, and every kid got one of those, and then they would go bring it to their buyer in the stands that evening. We went away from that after we did a survey with our buyers just a couple of years ago. Most of them didn't think that was necessary because the kids do a really good job of thanking them for the most part. So we do have over the last several years, we'd had a buyer's dinner after the fair, and we invited all the buyers to come, and we served them a steak dinner. This year, we're changing back to kind of an old thing where we're going to have a pre-buyer's dinner before the sale, and all buyers from the last year and stuff will get a couple tickets, plus some of them that will be registering. Like that.
Will you still do?
And that's mostly just because of timing and stuff now, getting those people on a Sunday night or a Monday night to have time to come. And that was came from a survey we did with some of our buyers too. So we do, as far as for soliciting buyers, like Janet said, we keep a list. And then about 2 weeks before the fair, we meet with the kids and we go over, besides buyer stuff, we go over some livestock fair rules, reminders, all that kind of stuff. But that mostly that meeting is for the kids. We divide up that list and the kids get a invitation type letter to go out into the community. They're assigned different ones by picking them or we sign some if we don't get them all picked, and they go out into the community and personally those families and those kids go out and invite buyers. And then of course we're always looking for new ones. And it's really worked well in Scott County, and me coming from a whole nother state and everything that did things differently. We're very blessed in this county to have the kind of support we do for our sale.
Yeah.
That's all I have there.
Very good. A question I have, maybe just to build on the letter, is that a standard letter? So you're not necessarily allowing the kids to develop their own. You have a pre-made letter with the information that then they hand deliver, correct?
Yes. Actually, this year we're going to try to do and make it a little more concise, but it is a standard letter. It tells them, but the kids are supposed to, we kind of go over a little scenario with some of them, you know, when they go over there and say, hey, Mr. Jerotri, we invite you to a sale. This is when it is, and maybe
Mhm.
explain a little bit about their projects and different things like that. And they're not really targeting buyers that they think will come buy their animal. It's just the whole
Mhm.
thing. But besides the letter also kind of explains the ins and outs of our sale, like that we sell by the pound, that they'll get that
Mhm.
floor price back. If they want to butcher one of those animals, what the procedure would be for that. I guess I can go back that we do every year get some slots at our local locker for those people that are buying animals for butcher, and we call them to the butcher that Monday
Sure.
after the sale gets over and stuff like that. So all that's kind of explained in the letter along with the invitation. So it's been a long time since I've been with a child to do that because mine is old, but I think that our kids kind of give them a good scenario what's going to happen too. So
Yep,
They
good.
talk about their projects extensively. I know they take photos of their project animals as well. Some of them have actually invited potential buyers to come to the fair for the show, to see the show in action. So they do put a personal touch on that letter.
Sure. Good. Janet, do you want to talk a little bit about Finney County then?
So Finney County is a premium auction. The animals do not sell per pound. We sell 2 animals per youth, again, in different species. They can't sell the same species. There is a rotation first, but there is a rotation of species. They do sell their champions first. All champions go through quickly. We have 3 different auctioneers for that auction. It is slightly bigger than Scott, just based on the number of livestock youth that participate. I actually have more 4-H members in Scott County than Finney County, but we're more heavily towards livestock down there. So the youth receive a donation from their buyers, and they receive that as a check cut from an account through the fair board. Add-ons are also sent to the fair secretary, and that comes to the youth as a separate check. And usually all checks are issued month of August. They do have a rough timeline for that. We do a lot of add-ons in Finney County. Our sale average is not as high. The auctioneers kind of talk, they look at how many animals they have ahead of time. And they try to have a floor price of $1,000 per animal going across the auction block for the kids. And then we have some key buyers that come to the auction that if a child's project isn't bringing 1,000, they step in and get that animal up there. But they do not have buyer's gifts as well. We don't do a meal afterwards, but we do have a sponsored buyer's breakfast in the morning because this is a morning sale in Finney County, whereas Scott's is an evening sale. So we do have a meal provided by John Ross Catering, which will be doing the catering up at the Scott County sale this year as well. And that meal is free for all buyers and youth participants and their families for the auction. Last year, we tried to add a little bit of a personal touch. I got up in the auction box and was introducing all of the kids. It seemed to go better. The auctioneers just don't know the youth as well. So we had some trouble with like name pronunciations, and some people would go off on tangents, and it made the auction a little bit longer. Last year was the first year that Finney County had a live auction since I've been in Kansas. They had been doing video auctions due to the COVID lockdown and some county policies that prevented us from getting to live auctions. So that was the first year. I did notice, I didn't notice in Scott County, but Finney County, we got about, maybe 2/3 of the way through the auction and our crowd was gone. We start at 8 a.m. and hope to be done by 11:30 at the latest, but we were getting towards the end and the auctioneers were trying to hurry because our buyers were gone from that auction as well. We do have the option to floor animals. Small livestock can get floored. They can go and get packaged at not Percival's, Ershman's or the college. And then the beef can also go on the floor truck to Tyson, and they are paid on the grid for the carcasses. And then all carcass data that goes through the college, Tyson, and Ershman's isn't part of our carcass show down in Finney County.
Very good. Yeah, lots of good info. So I know there was a comment in the chat about doing at Atchison County, they do 5 species and rotate. Just keep rotating 5, 5, 5, 5. And yeah, there's lots of ways. All of our counties are different. That's a unique one. And I got some other questions that normally come up too. I'm going to keep till we get to the end for some other discussion. So why don't we transition here then? Thanks, Ann and Janet, to Wendy Powell. Wendy is in the Wildcat District, and she has a few different counties that she would help, and we'll let her kind of visit about maybe some of the differences there.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yep, gotcha.
Okay, good. Wendy Powell, I'm in Wildcat, so we have Labette, Montgomery, Wilson, and Crawford counties, and we have 4 very different fairs, 4 very different auctions. I am going to go ahead and cede my 5 minutes to JJ because there's a ton of information that comes from Labette County, and JJ is our fair board president, and so he has a lot of the details, so I'm just going to turn it over to him.
Perfect, thank you.
Wow, way to delegate there, Wendy. Thanks, appreciate it.
She's learned. She's learned.
Yeah. As she said, I'm JJ Bebb. I'm the fair board president again this year. I'm very blessed to be a part of this fair. I've been on it for probably 16, 17 years now. Our premium sale is a little different than a lot of them around here. It keeps growing tremendously every year. I think last year we were close to 250,000. We're, I guess, a little different in we'll take all the add-ons we can get. I mean, I think a third of our sale last year was from add-ons. We want to get every dollar we can. So my wife is the treasurer. She's also a banker, so she's really good at putting lists and numbers together. So I haven't heard fair entry used on this conversation yet, but we started using that about 3-4 years ago with the K-State program, and it has worked extremely well. We've been able to run a lot of different lists. We generate all of our sale through fair entry. She really, it's a good program. It's a little tricky to get used to. We're still working on getting some more people trained up to use it. But what we'll do is send out a list once everybody is registered, or not registered, but went online and registered for the fair, I guess, and put their projects in there. Then she'll generate a list and send out to all of our buyers from the years past. So we've gotten people that are donating kids for woodworking or poultry or rabbits that don't have a premium sale.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll send in $50, $100, $200, whatever it is, and then we handle that. We do charge a 2% fee to cover judges, cost of running fair, ribbons, plaques, all that kind of stuff. Had a little bit of pushback when we first started that a few years back, but now everybody understands, the cost of doing business, we got to do that. So that's a pretty good deal. We invoice the buyers after the sale. It just got to be too much for the kids to go, because we have a lot of businesses around here that have maybe multiple locations, and you say pick up at Labette Bank at the Altamont location. Well, they were going to all the other 8 locations and trying to pick up checks. So we just cut it out and said, hey, we're gonna invoice the businesses. We'll pay the kids 60 days after the sale. We have a hard number on that. The last few years we've trimmed the base bids back, so the kids get premium plus the current market base bid that we come up with on hogs, lambs, goats, and steers. We have a locker there in town, so all of our steers, except for maybe a handful out of 40 steers, they all go to the locker. They all have a buyer before the fair is even here. I mean, now the buyer at the premium sale has first right at any of these. If they buy the steer and they want it, or buy the premium and they want to keep the steer, they sure can. So we do that. let's see, we only do one head through the premium sale. So one kid, only the kids are only allowed to sell one head. We found from years past and kind of surveying the buyers that keep coming to our sale, that's what they want to see. There are some other counties around that allow as many as you want. And they said that's why they don't go by there, is because these kids are selling 2 or 3. They want to see every kid be able to sell and have a little bit more money to put, or towards those kids. Let's see here. Oh, partner on buy-in. So we've got a lot of buyers that they may come with $3,000 to spend. Well, they spent $2,200 on buying a grand animal, and they don't, what am I going to do with that other $800? So our fair board members are really good about helping people partner up. You may have 3 or 4 buyers on one animal. Everybody's like, I'll put in 300, I'll put in 400, whatever. Just as long as we could keep it straight when we're clerking it. We usually have some of the fair board members' wives helping us clerk the tables. So that gets to be pretty entertaining and pretty fun. One of the comments was from the other participants here was their crowd dies out. Ours doesn't. Ours really sticks around to the end because everybody wants to see every kid, get, a set number, and everybody really works hard to keep that number up. We do have a few businesses that will come in a week later, 2 weeks later, and say, hey, did every kid make $1,000? Or here's $5,000, spread it out on the bottom kids and bring them up. So that's really nice. The fair board president, every year, he's the one that announces the kids coming in. That's just how we do it. So we got to make sure that we're kind of up on the names and whose the parents are, and make sure there's no divorces, and we're announcing the right kid with the right parent. We do have a carcass contest after the fair, usually about 10 days after. We have it there at the locker. And then all these kids have raised these steers. They get to go down and judge their beef hanging there. And that has become something that's really popular. I mean, we'll have 40, 50 kids down there, judging steers, and what the prettiest one is as the grand champion steer a lot of times isn't the one that wins the carcass contest, as most of you know that. So it's real world experience there. But yeah, that's kind of what we got going on.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, I think where we're at, time wise, we're in good shape. So I don't know, Wendy, JJ, that was really good. I appreciate all that, because everybody's so different. That's what we learned quick about, especially county fairs are different. But if you want the biggest variety, how the sales get set up, and I'll just quick say in Potawatomi County here, and I think Bill was going to try and join, but I don't see him on this one. We're kind of revamping ours. We are very heavy add-on. In fact, add-ons have kind of taken it over. For the reasons you've described, businesses can really spread their dollars and support. But at the same time, we have very few butts in the seat anymore. And so because of that, they know they're really not. They kind of get all the co-ops ahead of time, and they don't feel the need to come to the sale. And the actual true sales off the stands in our county have really went down, because it was all kind of already pre-packaged almost for the majority of the youth. And so they're going to try this year and kind of back away from add-ons and more the approach that Scott County has in terms of doing everything they can to re-get people to come to the sale. And so it's kind of different. These kind of sometimes can go in swings of what works, and it's been fine. Like, I don't know if we're not broken by any means. It's just going to be a little different approach because we just don't have the buyers show up anymore. And ours is on a Saturday night at 5 o'clock too. And we've struggled if that's the ideal time or not, because that's, part of what they've done. And we used to be a Sunday afternoon. That didn't work. Moved it to Saturday late afternoon. And so anyway, just different ways of trying to make it go. So we got about 10 minutes or so left before Lexi will put up the clock and kick us out of this room together. So maybe just some other questions. There's several people on from other counties. Maybe any experiences you have or questions of somebody that has visited with us. Yeah, Jill.
So my question is, in regards to the auctioneers. They said that they had 3 auctioneers. I think it was Finney County that said that.
Mhm.
How do you make that? How do you make that selection? Because we have 7 or 8 auctioneers in our county. Is that a selection, or is that appointed by the board, the fair board, or what?
So the Fair Board is responsible for the auction down in Finney County. It's not a separate committee. And they do have 2 auctioneers who they've been using for many years who donate their services. As they get older, they've felt the need to bring in 1 or 2 other auctioneers. We've also had those that auctioneer professionally come and catch floor bids as well. So we have 3 that have been rotating the last couple years, and what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we're going to do 10 or 12 animals in a row and then switch out. And at the size of that auction, that actually saves everybody's voice at the end as well. We do have a microphone system, but they felt that worked better having 3.
Thank you.
Scott County, we have one auctioneer company that we've used for a long, long time, but he has people that either works for him or he brings in some local auctioneers and they kind of switch off. And it's not ever been a problem because it's Burning Auction here in Scott, and they donate all their time to us. So we've never needed to go out and, try and he includes other people in the community that do some auctioneering on the side or different things like that. So that's just worked for us. I always say kind of, if it's not broke, if it's not broken, we're not going to try to fix it. And that's kind of the same thing. We have really, really talked about over the years, do we just go to a premium sale? Do we go to try to get more add-ons and stuff? And I mean, and this is not bragging or anything, but our steers averaged over $5,000 last year. Our lambs and goats were $2,800. Our pigs were $5,000. So we're very lucky, and we know it. And I know it from the business that I'm in. I work for the Kansas Angus Association, that we are lucky. Not to say this is always going to be that way. We don't have a problem with getting enough buyers. We've got a group of, it's just our community, I guess. We got a group of those feed yard owners and managers. They will stay up there to the bitter end, and they're all in the competitive businesses, but and even with some of our other ones, then if there's some things that they need to group together on, if something's not working very well, they'll have some things. So it's I hope, as long as it's in my lifetime that I'm helping with it, that we don't change it. We don't have a reason to change it, but we always are thinking that we might have to change it one day.
Yeah. So Rice County has a comment, and they send invoices to buyers, and the members are required to write the thank you for the awards and buyers. It's interesting. No member gets a check until all thank you cards have been turned in. So that's where some peer pressure. I imagine that gets some things going with if somebody is late coming in. And they talk about an appreciation barbecue. I have a question here, because this is one that comes up. What on the barbecues, and we've talked about this, are all of you now have something immediately before your sale? I think I know the sound like in Scott you used to do it afterwards, but now that was hard, so now you do it right before. Is everybody else have something right before the sale or not?
We've done it both ways. And even when we were having a big appreciation steak dinner after the sale, we were still having a smaller one before the sale, like either hamburgers, or we did some pulled pork sandwiches, stuff like that, that they could take into the stands. So we've always done that. And the way we pay for that is, well, we do have some sponsorship, but the kids, every kid that goes through the sale pays $40 per animal, and that takes care of several other things.
Mhm.
Well, it was taking care of buyers get, but it would take care of those dinners. It would take care of any any checkoff dollars we needed to include. And because since the kids go out to the buyers to get theirs, we pay the checkoff from that fund. And then we we don't have an insurance thing, but we've always tried to make up a little slush fund in
Mhm.
case something. And we have had only a pig so far, or more than one pig, that have died before we could get it to the on the truck. So that's how we do that part.
Sure. Well, I'm just impressed that you had pulled pork in Scott County. I almost brings a tear to my eye. And so
Well, we have steak the other day, so.
I know. So that's good. I have a question on order. So I believe, so I've been writing things down, but I believe, one county talked about selling all the champions. So the champion and reserve overalls all first. So, and then you get into species. I know some counties actually sell the champions last. Some counties would, and I'll be honest, I'd like to advocate for, in Pot County, I think we're going to do away with it this year. Then we sell it in our breed champions, but then after that, it's like first blue, second blue, first red, second red. We're actually, I think, going to do away with even putting if they got a blue or a red, right? At the end of the day, we've talked about it doesn't matter. It's a premium auction on the youth and their animal. Does it matter they were third blue or first red? It doesn't change the premium per se. And what we're trying to do is, because when we do that, we always stack them in order. We've actually talked about, after the breed champions, just randomizing within the pigs. So when a stupid judge like Joel DeRushi puts 1/3 and 1/4, the argument is, why should have I dictated a premium auction order, right? Sometimes it's easier to build the sale order because of that, and that's what we've always done. We're in some discussions in our county just to give it a little bit of a refresh and look at some differences. I'd be curious how you guys all establish sale orders, because I know it is different based on county.
We've done it a bunch of different ways over the years. We've done, or not to say a bunch, we've gone back and forth over the years. Sometimes we thought, okay, we have for a long time just sold lowest placing to highest, but we stay within species. So then the champion would sell last. Just because of people asking at different times, we tried it other ways. For us, that works the best. Now, we have never required our I know some counties do require their champions to sell. We never have. So, sometimes we don't have a champion, like a division champion or a breed champion might be the highest one. The most of the time, the pigs champions and reserves have sold, just because if they're done at the county fair, they usually can't go into other things. But of course, everybody knows the goats and the sheep and the cattle could, most of them can make it onto a state fair or something like that. So just for us, it works better. And because we have such that core group of buyers, I can't say we usually have anybody fighting over who's going to get the champion, but they make sure that they usually make sure that the champions get the most money, other than good, bad, and different. If it's somebody that, and this is not knocking anything, if somebody just bought a John Deere combine from the local John Deere dealer, I think their kid's gonna do pretty well that year.
Sure. Well, yeah, I appreciate it. In Rice County, it's I'd like to comment here that the champion of each species gets to choose where they sell, first, last, middle, wherever. So I've never heard that one, and we've been doing this session, I think, every time. And I've never, I don't, if I have, I forgot that. So that's a real unique one to allow them to kind of choose where they want to go, which that's a nice, nice little flavor to that. Interesting.
If anyone is interested in how Scott like has their sale committee and stuff, I did have Lexi upload our guidelines and everything, so you can find that in the folder.
Okay, very good. Yeah, what's been brought up, if you're not familiar, there was a rule change at the 4-H level that then it really put the onus on State Fair in Wichita to determine how they were going to handle the rule, quite honestly, is that, you know, if you go through prior to this year, if you went through the premium sale, that animal was ineligible for other state 4-H events. That rule has changed, but counties have to adopt it. And it'll be interesting. I know, as far as I know, most counties that I've at least heard have. It wouldn't surprise me if there's some counties that don't, you know, because they feel that the county fair is a terminal, you know, if it goes through that auction. So I think we'll have a mix, and I guess those will be local decisions how that gets handled. So. Okay, and that we're a big change of that too. I guess we got 32 seconds. Is if you're a fair and the buyers are always accustomed to being able to get that animal at a floor price, but now the youth, you know, so each fair is going to have to, or premium auction and county is going to have to work through that if in fact they wanted to take it on and still sold it, but that wasn't the culture before, how each one handles that. So, yeah. All right, this was great discussion. It looks like we're leaving in 5 seconds. And so we'll look forward to doing this again.